This is the Triple Play YouTube channel, proud member of the Empire Media family, and I am your host, Kevin Coleman, at @theboys_22. And in this first episode of this channel of me talking about fantasy football, we're going over a topic that I absolutely love, and it's my guy, and it's Sam Darnold. And whether or not next season he could be a QB1, or is he going to be just a bust? Is it finally time to kind of recognize Sam as being someone who has talent, who went to a bad situation in New York and just could never figure it out? Or him being 23 right now, is he someone that has a future in this league going forward? As someone who wrote like a 10,000-word article on Darnold, I do have a little skin in this game. And I do believe in him as a quarterback and as a person that I want to see succeed. But I do know that there are some things that he could do better. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into it, look at it, and look at the good, bad. We're going to go over his weapons that he's had, the scheme that he's in now, what his value is, what his ADP is. So we're going to do it all. It's basically a Darnold show of what we can expect from him and kind of what you maybe could get for him on the trading market as well in fantasy and dynasty and in Superflex league. So let's just go over the basics. Okay, so when we're looking at Darnold, his career stats hasn't been great. Okay, we've known that. 59% completion percentage, about 8,000 yards. Yards per attempt, 6.6, not ideal. Touchdown to interception ratio is 45-39. Rushing ability, he does have it. Like, he's not a barn burner by any means, but he is athletic enough. So he had 114 attempts, 417 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Now, the big thing is, like, where does he finish in fantasy? So Fantasy Pros, Superflex leagues, in 2018, he had 28th. 2019, he had 27th. And then last season, we saw him at 31st. So ideally and realistically, I know that he has not finished very high in his career. So when we're looking at him, whether or not he can be a QB1, and by QB1, what I'm talking about is, can he start in this league? And as fantasy purposes, he's probably going to be a QB2 option. I don't know if he could ever get to that QB1 top 12 guy, but he is a starter, right? Someone that we can rely on in leagues, especially with how the quarterback depth is right now. Can he do that? Let's kind of just go with what he's had with the Jets. So in 2018, his best season weapons was Robbie Anderson, Quincy Enunwa, and Jermaine Kearse. Isaiah Crowell was his best running back. Powell was there, and Elijah McGuire. And then Chris Herndon's season, which happened in 2018, a long time ago, he was there. His best tight end probably that he's played with. Fast forward to 2019. In his 2018 year, he did have a great second half of that year too, by the way. 2019, gets a new coaching staff. We got our guy Adam Gase, okay, what he brought in. They brought in Jamison Crowder, who had a very good year. Robbie Anderson, Demaryius Thomas, who was on kind of his last bell. Le'Veon Bell is their big free agent signing, but what we know now is Bell was not what we thought he was. Powell was there, and then Ryan Griffin was there after Herndon got hurt. So I would say 2019 was probably his best kind of weapons, which that's not great weapons. But when we think about what he had, he got mono at the beginning of the year. That really, and I don't want to make excuses, but he did have mono at the beginning of the year. His kidney was enlarged. He had a lot of things going on with him at the beginning of the year, and he kind of trailed off. And he had to deal with Adam Gase. Okay. Then in 2020, what we saw last year, Frank Gore was his leading rusher. I love Frank Gore, guys. Frank Gore is my guy. I have him on Dynasty rosters just for fun now because he's been on there so long. But Frank Gore was their best running back. Jamison Crowder only played 7 games started. Okay, he only started 7 games. He was in and out with that hamstring. He had 39 receptions, 699 yards, and 6 touchdowns. It looked good, but let's be real with that. Okay, he only played 7 games started. Brashard Perriman, 30 receptions, 505 yards. Brashard Perriman is not what we call a next-level athlete. Braxton Berrios was a starter on their team, and they went to him in crunch time. We'll talk about that as well. Denzel Mims, rookie that they drafted for the Jets, he was coming back from injury. He only started 8 games. He did have a pretty okay year. And then Chris Herndon was there, but as we've talked about, not necessarily something that we can rely on. Now, when you look at those weapons, there's nothing that pops off at you. His best running back he's ever played with in his career was Rojo at USC, Juju at USC. Some of his best years came from that. So he's not had the talent around him. Offensive line has been in shambles the last couple of years. New offensive systems, new coordinators, new head coaches, Adam Gase factor, which you can say whatever you want, but Adam Gase coming there and what he put in there was some questionable schemes. So what I want to do is we're going to look at kind of the good of Sam Darnold, some things that he did good last season, some things that he did bad last season because he definitely did that. And then we're going to talk about his scheme that he had to deal with, okay, with New York to kind of just put our mind at ease and say, okay, what do we expect from this guy? So let's take a look at the good. So one thing that I always have liked about him is his ball placement. He does have the arm strength. I don't know why people say that he doesn't because I truly think he does. His ability to get out of pressure, you'll notice he's always running for his life with the New York Jets line. everybody's seen this throw because everybody brought it up. You probably saw the back end of it. But his ability to get out of the pocket, go off script, okay, make plays is good. You'll see it here again. Again, he's running for his life. Keeps his eyes downfield, able to make a play, touchdown on a dime. Again, that's not a bad play. Again, I don't know what else to say when I'm watching him. And you'll see his athletic ability here. We saw this, and he got hurt in this game. It's just he's running for his life every time he drops back. There's no creativity in the offensive scheme. They don't have to worry about Frank Gore. So what are they doing? They're just going to blitz and rush these guys. He's able to get the guys to the outside of the seams. Okay, he hits that outside out of bounds marker pretty well. He's a very good passer when he's not under duress, but on the run, he's pretty good. That is elite arm strength right there, by the way. When he does those good things that we like to see, when he's able to get it, ball placement to the outside, those are that's good Sam. Yeah, I talk about good and bad Sam. This is good Sam. His ability to place the ball right where this receiver's at. This is the stuff that we're talking about when we mention, like, hey, he can be in this league. Now, let's talk about bad Sam. So bad Sam will try to do too much. And this is, I think, a product of what we've seen with New York. Here it is. Probably shouldn't have thrown that interception. He had 11 interceptions last season. Not ideal, right? Doesn't take care of the ball. But him trying to do too much definitely has led to this. That is just a bad throw, right? And he stared his receiver down. Again, I'm not trying to make excuses for him as a quarterback. He has definitely done that. Doesn't see the corner coming back, zone. Definitely didn't recognize that. And you'll notice when all these throws, he tries to get it out quick. I don't know how much of that is the system or how much of that was him just trying to make plays and trying to do everything his own. This Indianapolis game was awful, one of the worst games that he probably played. But again, it's good to show you guys kind of what you see. Again, it's against Buffalo, which we'll talk about here in a minute with their scheme. I don't know where he's going with that throw. I don't necessarily know if he got tripped up there. He's feeling a little bit of pressure here. Obviously, this is just his interception that he threw. Okay, he didn't get it up. Guy was wide open. So you'll see that he does have some negative plays that he has, some negative scripts. Again, but you'll see him always running. He's always on the move because he just doesn't have any time, and he's trying to make this stuff happen. And we're hoping that the next game, which we will get into, I'm going to show you guys, will do him good, right? That will actually elevate his game so that he can limit his mistakes. And he's always had kind of a turnover issue. So I'm not going to be one to say that he hasn't, because he definitely has. Even at USC, he had a fumbling issue, trying to do too much. That's always going to be part of his game. It's up to the coaching staff to limit those mistakes. He hasn't had that, okay? He hasn't had that. Now, let's look at Gase's scheme, okay? You're going to notice thing about him, especially like Buffalo, who they play every year, runs a lot of cover zero. What athletes out there can get rid of man-to-man? He's getting taken down. He's doing these things. Another one here against Buffalo. In a must kind of first down situation, they had to run a crossing route to Braxton Berrios. Okay, and you'll watch it here, and you'll see this right here. You're going to see this safety come up. It looks like Darnold missed that throw on purpose because he realized that was going to be an interception. Another one, they're running play action fakes to these guys who can create separation. You'll watch this, they're going to run a motion. Gase is going to run a motion here. He knows that they're in cover zero. They've been in this whole game. But he has no ability out here on 1st and 15, down 21-0, running play action to get that ball out. It is just insane to me what Gase was doing out there, and you'll notice it here. So when we look at what Darnold had to deal with, lack of weapons, lack of offensive system that can limit his limitations, right? Try not to exploit those. Other teams weren't going to be able to exploit those. That's not the case. They were because of what he had to deal with Gase. Now, he's going to go to Carolina. Look at his weapons already. Right away, CMC, one of the best running backs, if not the best running back, especially in PPR formats, just in the league. DJ Moore, everybody thinks he's wide receiver one. They always tout him up. He is one of the best wide receivers in this league. Robbie Anderson had a career year last year in this system with Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback. And then they get Terrace Marshall Jr., who I absolutely love. He should have fit this system. Absolutely great. Okay, so these guys, including – when we're looking at just in factor, right? Okay, they have Moore being there, all these different groups. That is kind of the key. They have David Moore now coming over. So they have systems. Now, Joe Brady's scheme is perfect for what we're going to be looking at with what we want from Darnold. So I'm going to show you some steals first, and then we're going to watch it. So look at here. Okay, you're going to notice this. There's always multiple routes and multiple angles that they're going to go to. Unlike where the Jets had really looked like one option and just a lack of creativity, you're going to notice that he's going to get his quarterbacks a lot of different play here. So you'll notice here, Teddy, here he goes. He has CMC on the out. He's going to have his and again, they're going to run that spread option. They put a lot spread offense. They're going to put a lot of pressure on the defense to guard these guys. And they have multiple weapons on the outside. They did lose Curtis Samuel, but they brought in Terrace Marshall. They're going to have these groups in here. It just allows for more fluid passes, allows for more creativity from your quarterback, and it limits the mistakes. So let's take a look at this play. I want to show you guys and what it looks like. Okay. So again, we're going to stop it a couple of ways. You'll see it here. I'm going to replay it here. You'll notice here. So once he stops, look at his options here. He's got 3 different options. He makes the right read. He fits it into the hole. That's exactly what you got to go for when you're looking at, hey, can this person do it? So let's watch it again. So if we stop it, now putting pressure on those linebackers, putting pressures on those safeties and the corners. He's got a crossing route over the middle. Now he just has to read one defender. Teddy has to read one defender here. As you'll notice, that defender is going to go over the crossing route. Now he has his next receiver set, his next look. Hey, I know he's going to be open. There goes that over the middle. He's going to be wide open. Boom, reception. That's something that he did not have in the Jets' offensive scheme. It limits his mistakes. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next one. You'll notice on this set, same thing. And they love to get their running backs the option to come out here. And now he actually has a real live running back, his best running back he's ever played with, and which a lot of quarterbacks could say. But CMC is that option, right? In this notice, you'll notice it's Mike Davis. Again, you'll notice multiple sets, putting pressure on the defense. You'll notice a crossing route with the running back coming underneath. Okay, it gives the quarterback option. So take a look at this. Let's watch it. All right, so again, you have these 3 wide receivers going out. You have a crossing route over the middle, and then you have that linebacker having to guard a running back. Okay. You'll notice it here. Now Teddy has to decide. Where is he going with it? It's quick. Hey, just get it out, and then he's going to make a great move. So again, it just gives them looks, and he had a path here, and he probably had the crossing route. So there's a lot of things that you can look at, and he has a running angle, which Darnold can exploit as well, because I think Darnold is actually a pretty good athlete, and I dare say he's better athlete than Teddy Bridgewater. I would think that he's quicker. He can kind of exploit those holes in the defense, and you'll notice it just is good for the quarterback to have just that option. Hey, get it out quick and go. That's not something that he was able to do, and if he was throwing to Frank Gore and these other guys, Isaiah Correll, who are all fine running backs, but not the type of level of athletes that we're talking about with Carolina. Now, this last one, you'll notice this too. You'll see it here. Okay, he's going to go trips, and then he's going to put his best athlete to the outside. Again, this is just putting pressure on the defense. Who are you going to guard? Where are these routes going? Where are these multiple routes go? And it's up to the defense to basically figure out how they're going to guard this. And at quarterbacks, it puts less pressure on the quarterbacks because he doesn't have to make as many reads. And it allows him to have that safety outlet, something that Darnold needs. And I'll be the first one to admit there. So let's take a look here. You'll notice it. Okay, when the ball gets snapped, defense is pressured. He has his outlet here. Okay, as you can see on the bottom of the screen there, he has his outlet, and he's got those guards going over the middle. Where's he going to go? He notices it very quickly. You'll see that corner right there, 23. He's covered now, right? He's underneath. Bridgewater knows, hey, I'm just going to get it out quick. As soon as I see it, he gets it out quick, boom, and it's positive gain. And you'll notice when you're looking at what he did, and this is going to run through, this will just give Darnold that better option. Here he goes. He notices it. He sees the defender. Hey, I got to read one guy and go. So essentially what they're doing here is they're simplifying the offense. And they did this with Bridgewater. They're going to do the same damn thing with Darnold. And now they have Terrace Marshall, who's a deep threat, and Robbie Anderson, who's a deep threat, and DJ Moore, who's a yak monster, and CMC. They have all these guys now that are going to be there, that are going to elevate Sam Darnold's game. Right now, when we look at kind of where he's at in terms of where he's going ADP-wise, right now he's going as QB30, like I talked about earlier. That's just plain disrespectful. Going basically after Cam Newton, who, I'm sorry, if I'm drafting in a Dynasty Superflex league, which these ADPs are based on that, I'm taking him before Cam Newton. Jared Goff as well. I've never been a big Jared Goff fan, not a believer. Who's Jared Goff throwing the ball to? I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Love him, but that's not a weapon that I want to have my QB2 throwing to. Jameis Winston is a mystery. Jameis Winston's a wild card. He absolutely is a great fantasy quarterback. We know that. He's in a great system. Can he be that? I can see these next 2 guys. I understand Winston, Carr, if that's where you want to go. I understand Carr, but Carr's a little older. When we're talking about dynasty here, imagine if Darnold can just throw up, hey, formidable numbers. You have your QB2, or based on that ADP, a QB3 that can legitimately kind of solidify your roster, especially in Superflex leagues, as having that option, right? Okay, and having that option there. Now, in terms of like where you're going with him in terms of trade value, if we take a look at this, right now, these are two trades that just happened recently after the Carolina deal. So Marquez Callaway and the 110 for Sam Darnold. Right now, the 110 is Mac Jones. So essentially, it's about Mac Jones, or if Mac Jones goes a little earlier, you're looking at maybe Devonta Smith, maybe Rashad Bateman, maybe those guys around that area. Some guys, Waddle's going around that area too. But really, maybe no running backs. They're going pretty early, maybe Javonte Williams. And that would give me a little bit of pause because I like Williams. But that's not a bad takeaway right now for kind of where they're at. But this is a good to say, hey, should I sell him? Could I get the 110 and Callaway? I probably want a different piece for Mac Jones. Hey, if that's the where you want to go, that's fine, okay? Adam Thielen for Sam Darnold is an interesting deal. I'm sure it's a rebuilding team. Thielen's kind of value is dipped a lot. If you're not getting rid of Thielen, he's probably going to die on your rosters unless you just sell him for really cheap. Not a bad deal. I will be honest, as far as trade value, I looked this morning before I did this. He has been going for basically an early second, late first. That's your value for Darnold. I have Darnold. I drafted him as a QB2 recently with Dak as my QB1. I think that's great value. I was able to shore up other parts of it. I don't think I would give him up for a second right now, especially with his potential. I know it's easy to shit on the kid. I know that people are like, hey, I had people unfollow me yesterday because I said, hey, that's a great value for your ADP. It is a great value. Okay, if you're getting him as your QB3, he has high-end QB2 potential within an offense that's going to basically amplify his skills. And he's going to have Joe Brady, probably one of the best coaches he's had to play with. He played a horrible system at USC as well. They had a terrible offense and a terrible head coach. So now he's getting the best system he can play in, the best weapons. I don't know what there is not to like about Sam Darnold. He is that good, especially with the weapons that amplify his game. These are the best weapons he's ever played with. But make no mistake, this is it for him. If he doesn't go on this, then it's there. But they did pass on Justin Fields. Whether that was the right decision or not, they believe in this kid. They picked up his fifth-year option. So he's going to be there. So you're solidifying yourself with a QB2/3 at ADP QB30. I'm taking that all day. That's how you dynasty. That's how you're able to shore up other positions, and basically you have someone there to back him up. I still believe in Darnold. I think that he is the guy that you want to kind of draft towards the end. He doesn't have a terrible trade value right now. You could buy pretty low for him. There's really nowhere else to go but up for him. Okay, now if he doesn't pan out, yeah, you lose him, but what did you really lose? Nothing, because you didn't really draft him very high, or you didn't really give up a lot. If you're getting up a second, especially if it's a 2022 second, which I don't think that class is very strong either, then I'm going to do it. Don't give up your 2023. That class is very loaded, at least right now we think it is. I know everybody says it, but not as 2023, but a 2022, I wouldn't mind giving that up for Darnold. So I believe in Darnold based on what I just covered. Okay, his weapons have been bad with the New York Jets. His scheme was bad. Adam Gase is terrible. Now he has CMC, Moore, Anderson, Marshall, Joe Brady, Matt Rule, a good system. They have an improved defense. They're not going to rely on him to do too much. I'm not saying he's going to be top 5 quarterback in fantasy, but he can be a solid QB2 like a Baker Mayfield plus type. I'm all in on Sam Darnold. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you watching.